The first time I saw her, she was standing in the middle of a barren clearing, the wind lifting her silver hair as though it were a signal to the stars. She was alone, barefoot, her pale skin catching the orange twilight. In her hands, she carried nothing. No tools, no supplies. Yet within an hour I watched her shape the first bones of a house where there had been nothing but dust and weeds. I hadn't expected anyone to be here. Not on the edge of this abandoned colony. Not after years of silence. The war had driven most away, humans and aliens alike. Yet there she was, hands brushing the air, drawing invisible lines, and matter obeyed her will. Stones rose from the dirt, fitting together with a precision no human mason could manage. I crouched behind a half-collapsed tower and stared, too stunned to breathe. I had been scavenging for scrap, half-starved and wandering when I stumbled upon her. But what I saw rooted me to the ground. She was building a home. And watching her stirred something I hadn't let myself feel in years. The ache of family, of warmth, of a place to belong. ##### The beginning of walls. On the second day I returned. I told myself it was only curiosity, but truth pressed heavier in my chest. I wanted to see what she would build next. From my vantage point among the weeds, I watched her summon beams of wood from nothingness. The air shimmered, particles clung together, and a skeletal frame took shape. She moved with a quiet rhythm, as if the structure already existed in her mind, and her body was merely remembering it into reality. I should have been afraid. She was not human. Her eyes glowed faintly violet when the sun dipped, her movements too fluid, too precise. Every lesson from the war years screamed, "Keep your distance. Don't trust them." ****. But fear wasn't what I felt. Instead, there was a strange intimacy in watching her work. She labored not like a machine, but like a mother piecing together a cradle. She touched the beams gently, adjusted them as if listening to their song. And each time the walls grew higher, I saw flashes of memory. My father lifting planks with strong arms, sweat glistening on his brow. My mother sweeping the floor before furniture even arrived. My sister painting flowers on the walls, laughing when the colors dripped down her wrist. They had all been gone for years, swallowed by the war, swallowed by time. Yet here, with this alien woman building a home in silence, I saw them again. ##### The encounter. On the fourth day, she turned her head. I froze, half hidden behind a broken column. Her gaze met mine, sharp and knowing. My breath hitched. I was certain she would drive me away, or worse. But she only lifted one hand and beckoned. My legs betrayed me before fear could stop them. I stepped out, dirt crunching beneath my boots. She tilted her head, studying me with those violet eyes, then pointed to a pile of stone blocks that hadn't been there yesterday. "Carry," she said. Her voice was low, melodic, and accented with something unearthly. I hesitated, then obeyed. The blocks were heavier than they looked. My muscles strained, but I set them where she indicated. She gave no thanks, only returned to her work, summoning another beam of polished wood from the empty air. I should have left after that. Yet when dusk settled, painting the sky in bruised purples, she handed me a flask of water. Clean water. The kind I hadn't tasted in weeks. "Why are you building?" I asked quietly. She paused, her hand resting on a half-formed wall. "Because a house is memory. Because memory deserves shape." I didn't understand then, but I would. ##### Rising structures. Days turned into weeks. I returned every morning, and she accepted me wordlessly, as though I had always been part of the plan. Together we raised the house. She worked with power I couldn't fathom, summoning glass panes clear as ice, weaving roof tiles from strands of light. I worked with sweat and muscle, hauling, lifting, digging trenches for foundations. Side by side we built something that felt more than shelter. The walls grew tall, and within them my imagination filled the empty spaces. I saw a dining table where laughter would echo, a room where children might scatter toys, a doorway where someone I loved might stand waiting. She never spoke much, but when she did, her words carried weight. "Your hands remember," she told me once as I hammered wooden planks into place. "My hands." Yes. "They move with memory. This is not the first house they have known." And she was right. I hadn't built since I was a boy, helping my father patch the roof before a storm. Yet each strike of the hammer, each measured cut, felt like rediscovering a language I'd forgotten. ###the hearth. One evening, when the frame was nearly complete, she lit a fire in the heart of the unfinished house. I sat across from her, the flames painting her face in gold. "Where do you come from?" asked. She stared into the fire. "Far. A world without this sky, without this soil. But war burned it. I build now because it is what I carried away. A shape of home." Her words twisted something deep in me. She was not so different after all. Both of us were survivors. Both of us haunted by what war had stolen. "Do you have family?" I whispered. Her eyes dimmed. "Once." I didn't press further. The fire crackled, filling the silence between us. For the first time in years I felt not alone. ###the ghosts of memory. The house neared completion, and with each stone laid I felt my own ghosts stirring. I dreamed of my family more often, sometimes waking with tears. The structure became more than hers, it became mine too. One night, as I brushed dust from the doorway, I imagined my mother stepping through with bread in her hands. My father's laughter filling the rafters. My sister running upstairs to her painted room. It was so vivid I almost called their names aloud. When I turned, the alien woman was watching me. "You see them," she said softly. I nodded, unable to lie. "Good," she whispered. "That is what a house is for." ###conflict. But peace is fragile. One morning, as we worked on the final roof beams, a group of scavengers arrived. Human men, armed, hungry, desperate. They saw the half-built home and the supplies, and they saw her. "What's this?" their leader sneered. "Some alien witch building a palace, with a pet human helping her." I stepped between them, but fear knotted my stomach. They outnumbered us, weapons glinting. "She's not hurting anyone," I said. "She's not one of us," the leader spat. "And that house, ours now." The alien woman straightened. Her eyes blazed violet. The air crackled around her, particles shifting like storm clouds. But I touched her arm. "Don't. If you fight them, they'll only bring more." Her gaze flicked to mine, unreadable, then softened. She lowered her hand. Instead, she whispered a word I didn't know. The ground shivered, and in an instant the walls of the house sealed, glowing faintly as though alive. The scavengers tried to push in, but the house held fast, unbreakable. Cursing, they retreated, promising to return. Inside, I exhaled shakily. She stood still, face unreadable. "You should have destroyed them," I muttered. "No," she said firmly. "This house is not built for war. It is built for life." Her words echoed long after the scavengers left. ###completion. Weeks later, the house was finished. It stood tall and warm, with glass windows shining in the morning sun. The walls hummed faintly with her power, but they felt solid, real. A hearth burned steady, filling the rooms with light. I walked through the doorways slowly, my chest aching. Every room seemed to hold echoes. My family's laughter, their footsteps, the smell of food cooking. It wasn't real, but it was enough to make me believe, just for a moment, that they had returned. The alien woman stood in the doorway, watching me. "It is done," she said simply. "What will you do now?" I asked. Her gaze turned distant. "I move on. Another place waits. Another house to raise." The thought hollowed me. After everything, she would leave. And what would I be without this? "You can't," I whispered. "This place. It's not just yours anymore." She tilted her head. It is yours. That was always the purpose. #### the farewell. On the final night, she handed me a small object, a crystal glowing faintly violet. When you hold this, she said, the house will remember. Even if walls fall, memory will not. I tried to speak, to ask her to stay, but her eyes silenced me. Some journeys could not be shared. Dawn, she walked away. No belongings, no farewell. Only the steady rhythm of her bare feet fading into the horizon. I stood in the doorway of the house she built, clutching the crystal. The sun rose, flooding the rooms with light. And for the first time since the war, I felt I was not lost. #### the ending. The house still stands. I tend its fire, sweep its floors, and sleep beneath its roof. The scavengers returned once, but they could not break its walls. Perhaps her power lingers, or perhaps the strength lies in me now. When I walk through its rooms, I hear voices. Not real, not flesh, but memories given shape. My father's laughter. My mother's gentle humming. My sister's footsteps racing upstairs. She built more than a shelter. She built a bridge between what I lost and what I can still hold on to. She built a home from nothing. And in it,